Hi there. I just wanted to toss out a video since I looked around on YouTube and didn't see anything. I bought the LED light kit with sound from, I guess it's pronounced LeLightGo.com. It arrived a couple days ago, nicely packed. I'm going to open that right now. That is for the Ghostbusters Ecto 1, the new model that just came out for the new movie. Set that aside. So what do we have in the package? A hard case with a remote and what looks like a bunch of little separately bagged components. Got our remote control. Looks like the battery box in one of these bags. And then all the various components that look like they have numbers on them. So there's a number 5 on this bag. They're not all labeled. No labels on those. There's 7, 8, 4, 3. Yeah, okay. So most of them are labeled except for some of the very obvious components that don't need to be labeled. So I'm actually working from the PDF that is on their website under the instructions, and I'm going to try and show how to go about installing this. Now this is the first time that I've ever done a video like this, so bear with me. I'm probably going to be stopping and starting the recording often, but we'll try to go in order and capture everything, and I'll give you my thoughts as I go. So, one moment while I get all this stuff organized, get my thoughts together, and I'll start recording again. Okay, and I'm back, ready to open up bag number 1, and I've got my PDF actually pulled up on my phone, so just quickly, I don't know if it'll show up. It looks, it's going to be out of focus, but basically, we're going to be dealing with the front headlights, right? So all they have on their site is pictures of what you're supposed to do. There's no actual instructions, so that's the point of this video. So it just kind of shows you how to go through and get your headlights set up for bag number 1. So I'm going to do that now. And it looks like to start, you basically pop the hood open. You get access to the headlights and basically pop the entire white set of blocks that contain, these come right out. So this whole little section here, out of both sides. Alright, so we can set the car aside again. So then they just have you pull these clear pieces along with the gray rounded discs off of the white blocks, if I can manage. So those are removed, at least 2 of them. Repeat that. Okay. So I've got those all separated. Okay, so I guess we're supposed to separate those entirely. So we're separating the discs from the gray plastic, the clear from the gray. So those four are all separated. Alright, so now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and open this bag. And they say right on their instructions they use really thin wires. They are not kidding. These are extremely thin wires. So they can be broke very easily. I guess just be careful when you're moving them around. So it looks like basically, yeah, I have 4 LEDs in here. Let's see if it'll show up on the camera or not. But yeah, 4 LEDs, and obviously the white plugs for the other end. And then there's one little black cable, which is probably an extension of some kind. And then the only other thing in the bag looks like, yeah, so it's just a little circuit board that all those plugs plug into, so they'll all be kind of chained together. And the very first step where we're actually involving one of those wires involves, so we have to separate one of the LEDs from this group. Just kind of untwisting these a little bit to get them separated. Together like they were all part of a pack that were just soldered in place. So yeah, you just kind of have to twist the LEDs back and forth, kind of wiggle them, so that little like plastic snaps off, and then we end up with a separated single LED. And what you're supposed to do, apparently, is take one of these gray discs and stick the LED up through there. Maybe you stick the, oh yeah, you stick the white end through. The LED doesn't fit from the bottom. Okay, so there, now we've got the LED sitting right in the top of the disc there with the wire hanging through. I'm going to do that on all 4 of these quick. I apologize if the audio is bad on this. I also, like I said, I don't do YouTube videos, so I'm actually using the microphone on my Macbook sitting on the table behind me. It's usually pretty good at picking up audio, but that's the reason for the audio quality. I do not have a dedicated microphone for this. Okay, so that is all 4 of those set in place. After we do that, it looks like we just make sure that the LED is, facing up, right? So there's a back and a front, right? You can see the solder on, well, maybe I can't get that to focus. There's solder on one side, and you get that little yellowish looking, I guess on the camera is a blob, but that needs to be facing up. That's the LED. And since that is facing up, and it's sitting right in the hole, you take the clear lens piece, and it should snap right over it. Sure does. So that's, yeah, that clips in there really easily. So I'll do that on all 4 of these. And that makes 4. Okay, so those are all done. I got the LED inside there. I wish that would focus. All right, anyways. So, in this step, I'll try to show you on my phone again. It wants me to put those pieces on the white blocks, all with the wires facing the same way out. So we'll do that now. So it doesn't say to do this, but I'm basically, there's these little grooves on the side. I'm going to make sure that those are facing down so the wires can kind of stick out through those. So set that on the brick. Is that going to work? No, you can't. I'm sorry. Scratch that. It does actually need to just stick straight down the bottom. I mean, you could easily pinch that wire if you're not careful. So I am assembling it with it splitting the difference. But you just don't press terribly hard so as not to pinch that wire. Okay, so, I mean, it's, oh gosh. It's in there, but yeah, that's, I'd be worried about pinching that. So they don't press quite all the way down anymore after, inserting that wire for obvious reasons, right? You're filling a void with wire, so don't push too hard. That's all I can really say. So put the second one on here. Alright, so I've got both of them wired with the wires sticking the same direction. Next step looks like with the wires facing down. Alright, so we're going to start installing this into the car, apparently. So let me move this stuff out of the way. Try to get a good view here. Pop the hood. So you can see this little deal right here. The wires go through that, right? So if the headlight's sitting like this, these wires need to stick, my hand's in the way, they need to stick through that deal. So that's really all it shows right now, other than them just kind of pulling up over towards the engine. Okay, so yeah, you can kind of see I've got those wires sticking up through here. And again, those wires are facing down, so I'm going to, I guess, get this lined up. You can probably clip that into place. Yep, seems okay. And then, yeah, all it says is it just looks like the wires kind of, trace along the front of the engine bay. So we'll see how that ends up working out. And it looks like we do the exact same thing on the other side. Not surprised there. Probably fairly symmetrical. So we will stick these wires through. And yet again, yeah, these just kind of lay over towards the middle of the engine bay. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there you go. So after that, it looks like we take this little circuit board and the outer two on each side of this are going to have the wires plugged into it. So just again, going by the photo on their website, if that'll focus. Man, need a better camera. Yeah, there we go. Just the outer two. Face that this way. Two of them. I'm just using my fingernail to kind of push the plug in. I don't want to pull on the wire really, because again, this wire is really thin. Do not put any unnecessary force on the wire itself. And you should, when you push on those little white plugs with your fingernail, you should feel it actually kind of click into place. That way you know it's actually in. It feels tight, but once you push on it enough, you can feel it kind of click in place. Okay, so that is hooked up. It looks like the third one from this side here gets the extension cable plugged into it, so I'm going to unwind that. That's this little black wire. I'm sure that kind of drapes into the engine bay, probably down underneath the car. Basically daisy chaining all this stuff together. Black wire is kind of tangled. Trying to get it all straightened out. In future videos, if I decide to do any, I will do some of this stuff ahead of time. But for you lucky people, you get to see me try for the first time. Alright, so yeah, let's go ahead and plug that into the third from the right. I really doubt it matters at all. I think these are all bridged, so I don't think it matters which one I plug it into. I'll follow their instructions. Okay, so that's plugged in. And yeah, it's really, you're not going to be able to see this on the video, but they're basically asking me to take that wire, run it all the way over here to the upper right side of the engine bay, back by like the brake booster and whatnot, and drop it down underneath the car. Right, so they just show the wire kind of hanging out here underneath afterwards, and you can kind of barely see the wire draping up over that way. So it's not really they don't plan on it being very well hidden if you were to pop the hood open. And as far as the wiring and such, like that little circuit board, it looks like they don't even cover it, but you're kind of shoving it down underneath those little gray pieces. Like, you know, there's that V from the grill. The little circuit board will slip down into there. So I feel like I should have possibly pulled the wires. Yeah, actually I see where I went wrong. So in this video here, or this photo here, you can see they wanted those wires to come underneath the little gray plastic pieces here and here. That way it can kind of be tucked underneath. So I get to unplug all of them and do it again. So yeah, I will be probably editing this video. Alright, let's redo this. Yeah, this is where I get a little worried. I'm going to use my fancy tweezers that I have here, because I don't want to pull on the wires to get those plugs out. They're, like I said, I'm worried about breaking the wires, so these might not be able to do it either. I wish I had better camera angles, but I only have the one camera. It's one of those, I mean, not the cheapest thing in the world, but I've had it for years. Just a Logitech C920 or 920C, whatever it is. Nothing fancy. tiny little set of tweezers is probably pretty handy here. Alright, so I've got those underneath. So I'm going to plug that back into this little circuit board. Of course, I have a lot less slack now, and my very not small hands are having difficult times with the wires. Okay, so those two are where they should be. They go underneath that little gray piece. That'll allow this to slip under. So alright. These other two tucked under there. And hopefully you guys can hear me. I need to check the audio quality when I get done with this video. I'm going to break this apart into sections for each bag. Okay, those two are up and through. Yeah, you really do not have a lot of slack here, so I'm kind of rushing this, which you probably shouldn't be doing, but just take your time and make sure you don't break the wires. I think that's the #1 name of the game. Don't break the wires. I would not want to try to solder or fix any of these. Alright, so those 4 are plugged in. Let's get this little extension black wire then. Okay, so now I match the instructions. Should be able to see, hopefully. Yeah, all those wires are plugged in how they should. Yeah, it's not going to focus. So now I'm going to try to hold the camera here. It looks like they just took this little bar and shove it down underneath here just to kind of get it out of sight. Which I'm not sure how exactly they do that. Doesn't look like the easiest thing to do in the world. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. So you can kind of shove it down in there. Okay, so it does become pretty well hidden. Like you really can't see that from anywhere. And then I've got this black wire that's kind of loose here, right? So they're asking me to put it, down. Oops, blocking the light. Right in here somewhere, all the way down through. So I can't really lift the car forward because the hood will shut on me, but maybe if I tilt it to the side. Yeah. So we'll just kind of drop it down there, just to the right of that yellow deal on the firewall. Yeah, as I do that, I can see the wire kind of hanging down here. I'm moving mine just to the, I guess I could probably, as far as hiding it, just kind of running it off to the side of what I guess would be the power steering pump maybe, on the right side. It's still going to be partially visible no matter how you do it. I mean, you could take your time and get it really well hidden, but I'm just going to go with what the instructions say to do. So, yeah, bag #1 is finished. So again, if you look at the engine bay, you can kind of see the wires. Focus. Maybe not. My lighting is horrible. I think that's what's causing the focus to be bad. Anyways, pretty straightforward actually. So I'm going to stop the video here and get ready for bag number 2.